What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, this is a story out of Margate, Florida. Now, this happened in late last month, but the arrests were made late last month. But it was one more recent arrest that brought this story back to light. Now, on the screen, on both sides of me, you see 4 people. All 4 people arrested. The old man, on the end, his case is a little bit different, and this news article will explain why he's locked up. But when I do these stories, a lot of times they come off of me seeing a video, and usually I go when I look at the news article online to see if I can find anything else that the media didn't, explain. And this has a whole lot to it. Now, like I said, this story comes out of Margate, Florida. And it's about a 15-year-old girl who's not been named, who was tortured over a decade. She's only 15. So this started when she was around 5 years old, all the way up to now. They brutalized this young lady. And they treated her worse than a dog. I'm going to play you this video, and I want you to pay close attention. This happens nationwide every day, even though it's in different degrees. But there are people out there that are being victimized, and nobody even knows, and they could be living right next door to you. Take a look.
Developments in a horrific case of child abuse.
A 15-year-old girl tortured for years, and now a 4th member of her family has been arrested. And we've learned he's a sex offender. And Local 10's Roy Ramos live now in Margate with the troubling details today. Roy.
Calvin and Nicole, and when neighbors I spoke with heard the details of this alleged abuse, they say that they got chills. The victim here, just 15 years old, and police say this alleged abuse came at the hands of her own relatives.
We were very shocked.
I didn't even know, they were doing that.
Neighbors concerned with yet another arrest in a Margate house of horror, where police said a 15-year-old girl was tortured and abused for nearly a decade. 74-year-old Horace Crawley, who police said lived in the home, taken into custody Sunday for failing to register as a sex offender.
There are several neighbors down the street that do have small children, and they are outside playing, so that is definitely a concern.
Her aunt and uncle, Latricia Crawley and Benjamin Lockett, her legal guardians, arrested in late October, both facing charges of aggravated child abuse and child neglect. Her own 20-year-old sister now also behind bars.
It would appear that Ms. Clayton was not just a mere observer, but an actual participant.
Margate police said they were first called to this home near Northwest 79th Terrace in 3rd Place after the victim reached out to an online instructor pleading for her to call police. It's when officers arrived, they found the teen with a gash to her head and bleeding.
That's very concerning. It's if they're doing all that serious, I can imagine what she went through.
Margate police officers said they observed even more signs of physical abuse. In the arrest reports we obtained, the victim claimed she was caged in different closets. While no one answered the door, documents detail in 2019, at just 11 years old, one of the defendants allegedly kicked her in the chin. In 2021, at 13, she said her knees were oiled and she was forced to kneel on rice for hours for consecutive days. She told investigators she was tied as one of the defendants struck her toes with a hammer, and at just 14 years old, she was bound and had boiling water thrown on her, causing severe scarring. And just disturbing to hear those details right there. At last check, the victim was placed in the custody of the Department of Children and Families. As for Horace, he is now solely facing a charge of failing to register as a sex offender, but investigators say they're now looking in to see if he is linked to this alleged abuse as well. As we gather more details on this one, we'll be sure to let you know. For now, in Margate.
Guys, I'm going to read this article to you real fast that goes into detail of actually what was done, because the news article, they have time constraints, so it didn't really get into it. But here's the article of what the little girl said happened to her in the house, in addition to some more things of how evil these people were. Now check this out. It says, Margate, Florida. A little more than a week after Margate police arrested her aunt and uncle after accusing them of torturing her 15-year-old sister for years, right? Now, let me state this real quick. This article is about the sister, when she got arrested, because they got arrested last month. The man and woman, they got arrested last month. This is the sister. The sister said, so this is what was said by the girl that was beat. Says, a woman is now accused in participating with a decade of allegedly brutality and starvation. Police arrest Shankira Latricia Clayton, 20 years old, on Thursday on 3 felony counts after they accused her of joining her aunt and uncle, the girl's guardian, in caging her sister in 2 different closets, failing to provide her with adequate food, water, and medical care, and not reporting the torture to authorities. During the girl's time locked in the closets, she was forced to urinate and defecate in a bucket, police said. Officers first arrested Latricia Elizabeth Crawley, age 46, and Benjamin Destuin Lockett, that's a weird name, age 43, last Wednesday after the victim wrote to her online instructor pleading for help and asking someone to get the police to come to the home. According to a report, the two have been the girl's legal guardians since 2014. An arrest report stated the officers arrived at the house, discovered that Lockett had punched the victim in the head because he thought she had eaten candy, causing her head to slam into a corner of the desk. The victim suffered a cut on the left side of her head, which was bleeding and had visible swelling. The report stated, medics took the victim to Broward Health Coral Springs, where officers noticed that she had other injuries on her body, including scars consistent with ligature marks, bruising, scar tissue, bite marks from insects, and symptoms of malnutrition. The alleged abuse is listed in the arrest report that include the following. Listen to this, y'all. 2019, at 11 years of age, Lockett kicked her in the chin, resulting in noticeable permanent scar observed by the affiant, I guess the witness. 2021, 13 years of age, Crawley oiled the knees of the victim and forced the victim to kneel on rice for several hours at a time for several days in a row, resulting in permanent disfigurement of the victim's knees in the form of scar tissue, also observed by this affiant. 2021, 13 years of age, Crawley tied the victim to a fixed object, struck her toes with a hammer. According to the victims, the result is severe pain and bleeding. 2022, 14 years of age, Crawley and Lockett tied and bound the victim to different objects on multiple occasions with a nylon rope, resulting in permanent disfigurement to the victim's skin on her shoulders, wrists, and areas of her stomach in the form of scarring, hyperpigmentation, observed by the affiant. 2022, 14 years of age. Crawley threw a pot of boiling water at the victim, causing permanent disfigurement in the form of scarring to the victim's stomach, observed by the affiant. Officers found 2 closets at the victim's house that had locking mechanisms on them, according to the report. Droplets of blood were also seen on the floor inside one of the closets, where the victim said she ran after being punched by Lockett. However, the blood had been cleaned up by the time officers returned later that day. Investigators said the victim told officers that she would at times be tied up with zip ties inside the closets and forced to sleep there. She also told investigators that Crawley would often pour cold water on her while she slept, just to see her wake up. Another form of punishment by Crawley, including taping the girl's eyes shut while her head was dunked in water. The victim showed multiple signs of malnutrition and starvation, including bones visible, especially around her spine. The girl is now in the custody of the Florida Department of Children and Families. Clayton, like her aunt and uncle, face charges of aggravated child abuse, child neglect, with great bodily harm. She also faces a charge of failing to report abuse. And it goes on to say, guys, Clayton has been held in the North Broward Bureau on a $60,000 bond as of Friday afternoon. Clayton and Lockett are no longer listed in the jail records, whatever that means. All right, guys, that's just some of the stuff. There's bound to be more stuff that they didn't name. That was just some of the big stuff that these animals had did to this poor little girl. Not little girl, but, teenage girl. Now, I want you to understand something. Since she was 5 years old, she was in the custody of these people. I don't know the situation with why she's with them, but she was with them. They signed on as legal guardians. Now, I don't know the situation with Mr. Lockett. He's a boyfriend. And you start to see the whole cycle starting again. Boyfriend doing stuff too. But what's surprising to me is this one girl, Shakira Clayton or whatever, 20 years old, 5 years older than her sister. And she helped deal with this and never reported it. And she helped it. They starved this girl, beat her, torture her, locked her in closets, did torture methods on her like you see in war that a lot of them are prohibited during, a lot of these different, that are like deemed taboo in even war. Some of this stuff you're not supposed to do to enemy soldiers, yet they did it to this girl. Why? No explanation. Hate. There's a lot of people that hate. And it's a lot of us out here that hate us that look like us. I was going to do a video on that. There's an underlying hate that we have for ourselves when we're dissatisfied with either taking care of somebody, taking somebody's responsibility that we sign on for, but we pour it back out on the person in which we're entrusted to help. These are demons, all of them. Now the situation with the old man is he got locked up because he failed to register in that neighborhood, in that area, as a sex offender, which he is. He's been convicted of. And you had him in the house with that girl. 2 girls at that. He should be locked up too because he knows about the situation. That's the thing. People sit around, don't say nothing, but they witness all kind of atrocities against one another. That is not normal human nature. I'm gonna tell you something, guys. They said they taped their eyes shut and dunked her in water, like to initiate the symbolize, like she was drowning. Can you imagine somebody, every time you get mad, they get mad at you and they start doing weird stuff. You don't know if you're gonna make it out or not. The horrors this girl endured, mind-blowing. And a lot of us couldn't go through that. That says a lot about the resilience of human beings and their will to survive. 10 years she went through this. 5 years old this started. They made her sit. They oiled her knees up and made her sit for hours at a time on rice. So you took food that you could have used to feed her because they said she was starving, but you used it as a weapon against her to cause damage to her physical form. Think that makes sense? They need to take these people to a steel mill and throw them in that hot lava shit that's down there. Butt ass naked, covered in gas, just throw them down there. I told you, when this thing gets fixed, a lot of people can't be here. And this is a prime example. These people are beyond repair. There are people out here that relish in the misery and pain of other people whether they look like them or not, and they get enjoyment out of seeing that they're hurting somebody and destroying a life. This guy ain't even your husband. Even if it was, it's just damn shame. This dude, Lockett, kicked her in the face. You kicked the girl in the face, bro. A 15-year-old girl, you kicked her in the face. I don't understand it. I don't understand this. I don't know. I guess Horace Crowley is her dad, the old man. And he's some type of uncle. That shows that it's a trickle down of negativity going down the family tree, and it's poured onto her. Now, the story didn't say anything about any type of sexual abuse, which was good. But it's still wrong, the stuff they did to her. The PTSD she will experience for the rest of her life. The nightmares, cold sweats, so on and so forth. Just thinking back that your life was in the hands of people that hated you, including your own sister. She helping them tie her down. All of that stuff. They gave her a bucket to go to the bathroom. Y'all didn't go in the bucket. Why did she? You kicked her in the face because you thought she ate candy? She's starving so bad, her damn bones is showing in her spine. Nothing but hate, man. Nothing but hate. Who are we? These are the stories that these leaders need to be talking about. And everybody that wants social justice, these are the stories that are in front of our face. This is the elephant in the room. The future children getting torn to shreds by people that's entrusted to taking care of them. Long as they heartbeat, they all right. It's such a barbaric nature now in society. It is. Any of them tortures, tying your feet up, holding you down to where you get your toes beat with a hammer. And that's a big chick. So you know she was hitting it hard because she, what? Had hatred in her heart for said child. No, she didn't hide it from nobody, because you know how it is when you got a house full of hellions, everybody want to outdo everybody. I gotta watch this. And you know, they probably sat there and watched it and probably laughed at her being in pain. Where's the love? Where's the respect? I keep it real. Punishments need to fit the crimes. When you do something to somebody and you treat them worse than an animal, you yourself, punishment need to be worse than an animal. You need to stop paying all these taxpayer dollars, feeding these fools in jail, giving them a glimpse of hope when they put victims in a position of hopelessness. That's all I gotta say. Sick of this shit. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I don't know what type of recovery this young lady will face. And she got a long road ahead of her with said recovery. But I hope in time, you know, she can get somewhat back to normal. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.